This girl tried to destroy the lives of 3 young men, and nearly 2 decades later, the shocking truth finally comes out. So this girl, her name's Crystal, and Crystal's got a problem. Her life has just been a series of bad decisions and bad luck. It all started when she was just 14 years old. She was allegedly essayed by 3 men. One of them, her 21-year-old boyfriend at the time. Her father was like, "Nah, don't believe you." Her mom, "It could have happened." This is where her life turned for the worst. So she joins the US Navy right out of high school and marries this man, McNeil. But her marriage quickly fell apart after she accused him of threatening to unalive her. The case was dismissed when she failed to appear in court. But that's not all that happened while she was in the Navy. She was discharged after getting pregnant by this guy. Let's just call him Sailor. She would go on to have multiple kids with him. Let's fast forward to 2002, where she returned to Durham as a dancer. Her life is about to hit an all-time low. So she was working, as a dancer. After she finished dancing on this gentleman's lap, she borrowed his taxi for a little fun, I guess. After being chased by police and nearly running one of them over, she was arrested on 10 charges. Things like assault on a government official, larceny, speeding to elude arrest, and driving while impaired, nothing major, right? So, up until now, her life has not been going very well. But in 2006, Crystal is actually trying to better her life. She's making some changes. She's enrolled in school and studying police psychology at North Carolina Central University. Things are actually looking bright for once. But you could have probably guessed this wouldn't last long. Now, a 27-year-old single mom trying to make ends meet in Durham, North Carolina. She's working as a dancer to pay the bills. And one night, she's hired to perform at a party hosted by the Duke Lacrosse team. These guys are college athletes, and they're known for throwing wild parties. So Crystal shows up at the party with another dancer, and it's clear this is not her scene. But she's there to do her job, make some money, and leave. But then something happens at this party, allegedly. Crystal calls the police and tells them she was attacked. She claims 3 of the players, Reed, Colin, and David, did horrible things to her that night. And when I say horrible, I mean horrible. The media gets hold of the story, and it blows up. Headlines painted them as entitled, privileged white men attacking a vulnerable black woman. Public outrage was instant. These men became the nation's villains overnight. The players deny everything, of course. They say this did not happen. But the prosecutor, this guy named Mike, isn't having it. He charges the 3 players and goes all in, painting them as entitled, wealthy guys who think they're above the law. And for a while, people believe him. But then the cracks in the case start to show. First, there's no DNA evidence linking the players to Crystal. None. Then, the second dancer says Crystal's story doesn't add up. And finally, it turns out that Mike withheld evidence that proved the players were innocent. By 2007, the case completely falls apart, and the Attorney General steps in, drops all the charges, and even declares the players innocent. Mike, he gets disbarred for misconduct, and the players, they sue for damages and try to move on with their lives. But let's face it, no amount of money will fix what they had to go through. Crystal's life didn't improve after the Duke case. It actually got much worse. In 2010, Crystal was living with a guy named Milton and her kids. A fight ensues, and she is charged with attempted murder, first-degree arson, assault and battery, damage to property, resisting an officer, and misdemeanor child abuse. Her rap sheet is now a mile long by this point. By 2011, Crystal's living with her new boyfriend, a guy named Reginald. Their relationship is rocky, to say the least. One night, they get into a fight and things get out of hand. Crystal grabs a knife and it ends up in his chest. He's rushed to the hospital, but he doesn't make it. Crystal says it was self-defense, but the jury doesn't buy it. She's convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 14 to 18 years in prison. Here's her mugshot. And while she's serving her time, the shocking truth comes out. Remember the Duke Lacrosse case from 2006? Well, on December 11th, 2024, almost 2 decades after the case was closed, Crystal sits down for an interview from prison. And here's what she says.
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true.
So, She admits she lied about the Duke case, and here's her explanation for why she did it.
Because I wanted validation from people and not from God.
She made up the story because she wanted validation from people. So, everything that happened, the ruined lives, the disbarred prosecutor, the media frenzy, it was all based on a lie. Today, Crystal remains behind bars, while the Duke players have rebuilt their lives out of the public eye. And from what I can tell, they are doing well despite what they had to go through all those years ago. The case serves as a cautionary tale. Sometimes people lie, I guess.